Hello there, I'm Marty Glickman, speaking for Sports Champions with one of the great left-handers of the game, Whitey Ford. Whitey, for a long time, one of your strong points in pitching has been your control. How can youngsters develop control in pitching?
Well, Marty, I think some boys are born with good control. I think I've never had a bit of trouble, even in high school. I think the reason I had good control, I was just talking with another pitcher over there, Ralph Terry, about the same thing, and I played first base all through high school, and I think that might have helped me. I just concentrated on throwing the ball straight, and then when I did become a pitcher, I had good control right off the bat. But I think a young boy, 12, 13, is just going to have to throw and work at it as much as he can and not worry about throwing curveballs and screwballs and knuckleballs. I've had little leaguers ask me how you throw a knuckleball, which I don't know how to do, and a screwball is another pitch I don't know how to throw. But I think they should just concentrate on throwing the ball straight, getting their arms strong, and practice their control.
When you practice control, do you throw to spots on the receiver?
I think that comes later on. In the minor leagues, I know even my first 2 years, our managers told us, don't worry about pitching the corners, just try and throw strikes. And then when you get to the major leagues, or maybe AAA baseball, then you start throwing to spots. And that's when you get 2 strikes on a hitter. You don't start doing it the first pitch to a batter. You usually wait till you got 2 strikes on him. Maybe you're going to try and strike him out if you can. And that's about the only time you really pitch to spots. In 1955, Casey Stengel got after me about it, saying I should work on it. So I looked at a couple of fellas in our league that had good moves. Bill White, for instance, had a real good one. Warren Spahn, who I'd seen in spring training, had a real good one. So we went to Japan that year, and most of the games over there we got ahead by a few runs early in the game, and every time a man got on first, I'd work on that pickoff, and by the time we come back here in 56, I had a pretty good one, and it helped me quite a bit. But the whole thing, it's mostly your head is the biggest thing with a man on first. You have to deceive him with your head and your foot, and you have to give him the idea that you're going home with that ball, and that's the only way to really get a good move. Also, I think you should not only have a good move to first, I think you should have a good move to second and possibly third if you want.
In the move towards second base in particular and to third, are you in coordination, or do you watch closely the catcher or another infielder?
Well, usually I'll give it to Tony Kubek or Bobby Richardson or Clete Boyer if we make it a third, and it's a time play. They see when I do a certain thing with my glove that maybe the count will be 3. At the count of 3, after I've done that, given that sign with my glove, that ball will be on its way over to third or second base. So it's a time play, and I give them the sign for the pickoff, and they'll answer me, so nobody will get mixed up.
Whitey, you've long been known as a real good fielding pitcher. How can young pitchers develop their own fielding ability?
Well, I think a real good fielder, it's a matter of reflexes, really. I think Bobby Shantz is probably the finest fielding pitcher I've ever seen, or has been in baseball, and it's just a matter of him with reflexes. But a pitcher that doesn't have those kind of reflexes, just average, can improve it by having a good follow-through after he releases the ball. If he has a good follow-through and he's ready facing that hitter and ready with both hands to get any ball hit back through the box or ready to bounce to third or first for a slow hit ball, he can do it. And I think the best way is probably playing in a pepper game with a friend of his. Just play pepper, and that'll give you the best practice you could get, I think, for being a good fielding pitcher.
Pitchers ordinarily aren't known as hitters, and in that category, you're not particularly known as a top-flight hitter, Whitey. Nevertheless, as a bunter, your role in the batting order can be most important.
A pitcher should be able to bunt. There's really no excuse why a pitcher shouldn't be able to bunt.
But what are the basics of bunting?
Well, I think try and get a good pitch, not let the pitcher keep throwing you high fastballs up around your shoulder and make you reach for them, because usually you'll bunt it right up in the air. Try and get a ball, from your belt down anyhow.
It's been said that too many young pitchers try to overpower hitters by throwing too hard.
Well, if you got a hard fastball, it's just a normal thing. I think you're just going to try and throw that ball as hard as you can. And I like to see young pitchers that can throw hard, and not worry about their control, because speed can make up for a lot of mistakes with your control. If your control's a little off, that extra speed he might throw a ball right down the middle of certain hitters that the average pitcher couldn't do, but with that little extra speed, he can get away with it, maybe make him pop it up or make him miss it completely. But I like to see young pitchers throw as hard as they can.
Whitey, thank you very much, and continued success in that New York Yankee uniform.
Thank you, Marty.